What it means to me is it's about creating sustainable human settlement that's in harmony with all other life on this planet. So permaculture really has wonderful ethics of caring for people, caring for Earth, and a fair share. When we first came here, we just walked around and had a look at what's happening. And so everything that we see happening here that's working, well, let's not reinvent the wheel, let's do what works well here and has worked well here for hundreds and thousands of years. I think what we've done, what we've contributed is just help to pull together in collaboration with everyone here, with the team here, an overall master plan. And it's at a point now where we can give it to Permaculture and the landscape designers, the artists and Balinese designers to have get all the fun now with the planting, and that's the step where I guess we can hand it over. It'd be great to be part of that, but really I think the project's in really good hands when it comes to that aspect of it.
We've got black water that needs to be processed from the common facilities, and so a wastewater garden needs to be placed in a setback, and so that can be an incredibly beautiful place with plantings, very functional, and also amazing amount of nutrient that can be utilised by that on that site. Water storage is another, so above ground tanks that would be great in a battery system adjacent one another to do water storage for the common facilities would be really wonderful. And an alternative pathway, so there could be footpaths that can run adjacent to hard surface paths for the buggy, for example, or people who want to walk down a hard surface. So then those pathways can meander through interesting landscapes, whether they have small water features or a beautiful, like a stacked food forest, or a place of biodiversity, or a place of retreat. You could have some little eddy points where people can just, walking back from wherever the case is, might sit underneath a certain tree and look out or have a conversation or something like that. Those eddying points makes communities a lot more livable. The setbacks is there's a distance between either a boundary with a common path or a common boundary with a neighbour. So that's, in my understanding, that's what the setbacks are. But the functions of the setback, there's many functions of the setback. So the functions of the setback would be, I guess, first and foremost on that site would be water movement, or surface water movement, and then moving that surface water to where it's either needed or where it can be exited in extreme rainfall events. And so in that surface water movement, we're looking at things like swales, which are drainage trenches or trenches on contour, or they could be going down the contour slightly, and mounds, which are like they're earth mounds that either retain water or move water, which also become places to plant things. The setbacks would also include Zone 2 plantings, like our food plantings. It would also include privacy. It would include consideration for creating shade, biodiversity, and it's also going to, I guess, the setbacks are wonderful because it's what distinguishes. It's one of the other, like the micro details that would distinguish, say, Taman Petanu from a regular neighbourhood, where the communities got together and have agreed, okay, we'll have X amount of setbacks, and because it's going to have like a really positive influence on the feel of the community, and they're the unquantifiable elements that we rarely talk about in mainstream society. We just make reference to. So,
Protecting the soil is the #1 priority for earth care and earth repair, so that's a big challenge for the site. But I think that we work through a process of looking at water movement, and from our first visit here in July last year to where we are now, I think based on our work with the team here, the approach is about moving water to where we need it to go, and following patterns in nature so that we're not creating an unnatural scenario. The big challenge will be for individual lot holders to apply the principles of permaculture within the boundaries of their property. Outside of that, we've done, I think, a really good job in applying the principles to the broader landscape, But what happens inside the boundaries will be really up to the individuals, and that potentially could be a problem, you know, if buildings are too big or unrealistic footprints on certain parts of the land, because some areas are really steep. And also what they do with their wastewater, their grey water, their black water, and where they discharge their runoff. They're the real big challenges. Water's a big challenge here, I think, for this site. So really seeing that as a resource and treating it as a precious resource and integrating it into the landscape within your own block, and how that, and so that it does integrate well with the broader landscape pattern on the site.
With the residents that are there, like, it's a beautiful integration of people that, to start with, that, you know, you've got like a group of people that want to live together. They want to demonstrate sustainability, and they want to live together sustainably as much as they can. I think just to start with, I think that's the starting point. You have that intention. That's the most critical thing, which would come down, I would assume, to people's personal ethics. So if people want to come together because they care about each other, they want to build something that they're caring for the earth, and then the fair share, just the way that we've been going through this whole, the setbacks, where some properties have larger setbacks than others. Just the communication between the residents and how much flow there is, and how people are already working together and, you know, and sharing the space. That's incredible. So from a permaculture perspective, on that broad scale, it's wonderful. The idea of being able to meet as many of the energy needs as possible, particularly like water, from the site, is really exciting. Working with nature, that's what I see. That's the big principle that's coming through too, with how people want to live together. And I think that it's a neighbourhood of people that want to grow old together, and then have progeny that can continue to live there too, and that's really inspiring. Eco-villages that are designed with permaculture principles want to remain on the planet. They want to be sustainable. They're mindful of how much, you know, where their inputs are coming from, how much of an energy footprint they're having, what sort of a demand they're having elsewhere. And I think that's particularly important in Bali, where you've got like what could be seen as a disparity of wealth. But what I like in Taman Petanu is that what seems to be a similar harmony in living. You know, what you look at when we see in kampung areas in Bali specifically, and that joy in living in that environment. And what happens in Taman Petanu, for example, is there's that joy that's already there.
Anyone out there listening, you know, really challenge you to pick up a permaculture manual, Google the net, look at what people are doing out there, and get inspired from it, and see that, yeah, there's some great, all the solutions are there. We don't need to create any more solutions. They're there, it's all there, ready for us to say, come on, you know, make it happen.